We have done an enormous job with that project, and today we're here to launch that, to have a ceremony in acknowledging that work that was done. It's hard to do it on the road itself because it's so much length of road. And so we were doing it here in the conference room at the Montego Bay Convention Center, and we're streaming it live, so thanks to all you watching online. And so we will just now go straight into the proceedings by inviting everybody to stand for the national anthem. Thank you. I'll invite you to remain standing as we ask Fiona Fennell, Communications Extraordinaire in the Tourism Enhancement Fund, to come and offer prayers.
Morning again, everyone. Please bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for today. We want to thank you for the fact that we're all in our right minds and faculties, Lord, that we have the strength and we have the energy that you have provided for us, Lord. We know that it is not a given, it's not a surety to get up every day, and we thank you for today. We pray, God, that you will guide this proceeding, that you will help us, O Lord, to work together continually as a team to get to the goals that we have in mind, O Lord, and we know that we cannot do that without you. And so we thank you, O Lord, for always being ahead in your thoughts, in guiding us, in protecting us. We thank you again, O God. In your Son's precious name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated, and I would like to now just give you a brief welcome to the project, the celebration of this project, where we have installed road markings all the way from Orcobessel in 3 stages through St. Anne, through Trelawney, and we ended in Spot Valley just a few months ago, hence having this function at this time. The project included not only removing some of the raised markings that were there that were no longer relevant, but to add new ones and to also install over 10,000 cat's eyes, which are the reflectors that are there on the markings on the roads. It's providing, obviously, a very easy to recognize markings on the road to make it so much more easy to drive on and to help persons to be safer when they're traversing that corridor. The Road Safety Council will speak to the impact that it will have on road safety, but at this time I will invite the Director of Planning and Research from the NAA, to speak a little bit more to the project itself. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Patrick Rose.
Good morning, everyone. Minister, it's good to be here. I bring greetings on behalf of the management staff and the CEO of the National Works Agency. Road marking is very important in terms of finishing any road. Without it, the road is dead. There is no indication as to where you should drive. It has no character to it. So engaging with the TF these past few years in doing a number of these projects, the softer projects as I would call it, the benefits of it is quite plain, easy to see. Driving here from Kingston, it makes it pleasurable. You know exactly where you should be. You know where the turnoffs are, the arrows, etc. All of that has been done. We have signed off on this. It has been a joint partnership with the TEF at every stage. Wherever there are inspections to be done, it's done jointly, Dr. Wallace, with your team. And I think that this partnership has been good. The cat size, as you call it, well, the term that we use is raised pavement markers. They do make a difference. The type cat size that we have, the 3M type, it's very luminous, very reflective. So in the nights, it really makes you know where the center of the road is, where the edge of the road is, things like that, where the little ghost islands are, etc. They have all been delineated. We intend to continue this type of partnership with the TF if they are so minded. So I look forward to working along with the Ministry of Tourism through the Tourism Enhancement Fund for many years to come, especially in the tourist areas, doing projects like this. I leave the rest of it to the Minister in his remarks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and that was Patrick Rose from the National Works Agency, the Director of Planning and Research. And we are doing this launch remotely, and in so doing, we're even going to have the next presenter present from Kingston via Zoom. So I now invite the Executive Director of the National Road Safety Council, Mrs. Paula Fletcher, to give her remarks.
She's a superhero. Oh, don't you know? Little superhero.
Special invited guests. Paula Fletcher here from the National Road Safety Council. I'm very pleased to be a part of this initiative, though I am virtual through Zoom. We are riddled with still a number of fatalities over the years, even though we have tried to get down to 300, and sorry to announce that up to today, there are 400 persons who have died on our roadways. Many of those are vulnerable road users, motorcyclists, pedestrians, pedal cyclists, pillion riders, and that vulnerable group actually account for 65% of the fatalities. So we are very happy to see that the Tourism Enhancement Fund, along with the National Works Agency, who is a member of the National Road Safety Council, happy to see this collaboration for this project. And just to tell you that it aligns perfectly with the Safe Systems approach promulgated by the World Health Organization and the United Nations, which we have adapted here in Jamaica to pursue an approach which says we need to do all and everything we can to protect road users. Yes, they must take personal responsibility for how they use the roads, but authorities, we really have a role to play as well in making the roads safe. So these road markings and raised markers will go a long way in making our citizens, not just the tourists, but the citizens of Jamaica as well, safe on our roadways. So congratulations, and we hope that this is a project that we will take to other areas. So not there with you virtually, not there with you in physical, sorry, but there with you virtually as we consider this a very important aspect of making our roads safe and making our nation as we use the roadways safe. So thank you all very much and have a great day in terms of the rest of the program. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Paula Fletcher, Executive Director, National Road Safety Council. Now, the road markings went through St. Anne, in fact, from St. Mary, and through St. Anne, through Trelawney, and into St. James. Today we have one of the mayors from one of the parishes that the road markings went right through their parish. So we're happy to have His Worship, Colin Gager, come forward to give his remarks regarding the project as well. Let him feel welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Wallace, and of course, Mr. Patrick Rose, and Mrs. Paula Fletcher, who joined us by Zoom, and of course, our hardworking minister, Minister Bartlett. Good morning, everyone, or it's afternoon now, I think. Today's ceremony brings joy to my heart as once again I can see a clear indication of the efforts being made to protect the lives of our citizens. Indeed, in these times of uncertainties and calamities, anything that can be done to save lives should be lauded and applauded. I must commend the Ministry of Tourism through TEF, the National Works Agency, the National Road Safety Council, and all the other stakeholders groups who made this possible. You see, this leg of the North Coast Highway is a heavily trafficked route, and you can understand why both locals and visitors traverse this corridor for numerous reasons. Both Falmouth and Montego Bay are towns with many tourist attractions, and both towns have residents traveling back and forth for work. One of the unfortunate realities is that it is a corridor prone to accidents. I am happy to witness this launch, which, after project completion, will mitigate against the dreadful accidents which now take place. I know that this road safety improvement project brings about a great sigh of relief for many of us who uses this leg of the highway and are exposed to the risk. I am delighted to be a part of this launch and seize the opportunity to encourage all road users to practice safe habits at all times, because in doing so, you may save your own lives. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Worship. At this point in the program, we're going to show a video which showcases the actual road markings and the work that were done. So over to you with the video.
A crisis in Jamaica in terms of road safety. Far too many more people have died. For the government of Jamaica to adopt what is called a safe systems approach to road safety. The safe systems involves 5 different aspects of an approach to road safety: safe roads, safe speeds, safe vehicles, safe road users, and an efficient post-crash system. In respect of safe roads, dealing with road markings, especially at nights when your vision is down and you're depending on these markings to keep you staying in your lane, and staying in your lane is a vital message that we want to get across to people. Many of the roads in our country and in various countries across the world have no street lights, even in a big country like North America. On the highway, and there's no street light. But what they do have is these fluorescent markings which can help to guide you, because it's when you wander outside of your lane and overtake without due care that you run into trouble. But in order for you to be able to stay in your lane properly, you need the cat eyes, and you need to know where you are in terms of the side markings. So we are more than grateful that TEF has come up with this idea to put in these markings and to improve the safety on our roads.
Agency, as part of its mandate, has road safety as a key component of the drivers as it relates to our work. So we were very happy to have partnered with the Tourism Enhancement Fund on this particular project. We have partnered with the TEF on other projects, but this one in particular we're very happy about, because it's not just about the persons who are visiting the island, but the many locals who use the North Coast Highway between Falmouth and Rose Hall And in this particular case, we had a program where we were reinstalling the lines that demarcate the lanes that persons would use while traveling, as well as the raised pavement markers, or cat's eyes, as persons refer to them as. Now, these are critical bits of infrastructure as it relates to roads, because apart from assisting in keeping motorists in line, they also assist in illuminating the corridors, in the case of the raised pavement markers, at nights. And so where persons could be veering to the right or to the left, depending on which direction they are going, and in that case, likely to cause an accident, these lines and the raised pavement markers help to keep them in check.
Safety, security, and seamlessness underpin the sense of well-being of visitors crossing borders. It is a feeling that must pervade the traveler before they even leave their destination. And therefore, it is the responsibility of the destination that the well-being of visitors are secure. Visitors need to know, especially in this current pandemic, that when they arrive to our shores, there's a proper infrastructure in place in case there's an emergency. Sometimes that infrastructure promotes safety measures, such as road markings and proper lighting for motorists and pedestrians. Having these preventative tools in place is critical, as road accidents remain a leading cause of death for locals and visitors alike. These accidents also place a major burden on the country's emergency medical services. This is why the Tourism Enhancement Fund has invested in a road safety improvement project valued at over 116 million Jamaican dollars. The project has allowed for well-needed road markings and raised pavement markers, or what we call cat eyes. The project stretches from Aracabessa in St. Mary all the way to Spot Valley in Montego Bay. It is indeed a true reflection of our commitment to enhancing the country's overall tourist experience and providing for the sustainable development of the tourism sector. It is also our commitment to safety, security, and seamlessness. I would like to thank the National Works Agency, which executed the work, and the National Road Safety Council and the Jamaica Constabulary Force, who are also partners in this project. I believe that these road improvements will help to reduce road accidents and add to the overall attractiveness of Jamaica as a destination. Thank you.
I thought that was quite impressive. I mean, you saw the before and after pictures. Huge difference. And the feedback that we have received from all our stakeholders is just amazement, and everybody is extremely grateful for this project. We saw the Honorable Minister speak on the video, but such is the impact that he is here in person. He made sure of that, to speak some more. And I'm supposed to introduce him, but everyone here knows that he needs no introduction. Tourism Minister of the world, pretty much, and has done an outstanding job during the heydays of tourism and even through the pandemic. It's great to have such an amazing leader in tourism in Jamaica. I give to you, Honorable Minister of Tourism, Edmund Bartlett.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wallace, our Executive Director of the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Of course, you have already been introduced to the Mayor of Falmouth, Councillor Gager, and Mr. Patrick Rose from the National Works Agency. And those of us who have already been acquainted with the very efficient and eloquent CEO of the National Road Safety Council, Mrs. Paula Fletcher, and of course my friend, the Vice Chair of the National Safety Council, Dr. Jones. I am particularly pleased to be associated with this very important element of our safety delivery programs within the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and in a broader way, the Ministry of Tourism. I'm driven by the need always to build destination assurance. And it's a strategy that in the ministry we have now developed. In fact, it is being borrowed by the world because the world understands destination management. They understand destination analysis and destination discussions of various types. What they don't understand is the concept of destination assurance. And so we brought a whole team from George Washington University to work with us in thinking through and to create a policy formulation and a set of guidelines and the framework for destination assurance. And so what that engages is all the critical elements that must come together seamlessly to create an experience that the visitor enjoys and pays for when he comes to your destination. And within that context, the issue of safety, security, and seamlessness are the hallmarks. And for us, safety is not just what we do by way of protecting people from mishaps. It is deeper than that. It is building a culture. It is building an understanding. It is to create a whole feeling that this is what is required of you, indeed a part of your own personality. So that safety becomes a habit. It's a process and not a single act. And what we do when we invite visitors to Jamaica is to give an assurance that they are going to be safe. But we must back up that assurance with some hard action, influenced by policy and directed in time by clear minds and a direction that is understood. So when we collaborate with the National Works Agency to ensure that the ability of our visitors and locals alike to traverse the highways and the byways with a feeling of confidence that it is going to be all right if I use this road is critical. And to put dollars against our own commitment is really to establish that we are truly serious about this undertaking and this commitment that we give to our market. So $116 million that we put to work with the NAA in putting in these cat eyes and these markers, these raised markers, to enable our commuters of our highway to do so with a greater sense of surety as to where they are driving, and more importantly, encroachment on others who are using the highway. But when our visitors come to the country and they are not accustomed to our road system, they need markers, they need guide, they need signage. And that's the essence of road safety for us, is to enable the use of our highway in an efficient way in an orderly way and in a way that respects the right of others to use it. And so when the visitors come and they're accustomed to driving on the left side of the road or on the right side of the road, as the case might be, they all can be guided to know that, okay, fine, this is right, yes, so we are right. And guess what? In the middle are these eyes, and on the either ends are also eyes, and I'm in the middle. But I'm on the right side, and so I stay on the right side. So I really want to commend the team from the TEF as well as the Road Safety Council and the NAA for collaborating to do this. And it is something that we can not only speak about with confidence in Jamaica, but we can say to the world that we are serious about your safety when you come to Destination Jamaica. And that is a key element of destination assurance. I wanted also to use the opportunity today to talk a little bit about how we build out other elements of this assurance. And as we look at how the industry has grown and how our towns have grown, how do we make sure that these towns are appropriate for the expanded tourism that will come after the pandemic, and even those that are enabled during this pandemic. You know, we remember Montego Bay as a sleepy little fishing village of many, many years ago. In fact, the Manteca Bay, as it was called, is the Bay of Lards. And this was a big pig pen that had all the people from Cuba coming to get lard, to buy lard, to take back to Cuba, because it was not only a source of keeping their meat and so on fresh, but it also had components for warmth. So from the lard of Montego Bay, Cuba and other places had their improved arrangements. And then tourism came. And look at Montego Bay today. It is now the second largest city in Jamaica. It generates, arguably, more economic activity than even the first city, arguably. And in the Caribbean, Montego Bay is the most important tourism center in the English-speaking Caribbean. But all of that happened because we built infrastructure, because we created the highways and the roadways, because we also built housing, and we're doing even more of that now. But we built an airport. And the airport was the real turning point in terms of how Montego Bay would really morph into becoming what it is today. And so we're looking at expanding our footprints in the development of Montego Bay. And a $600 million investment from the Tourism Enhancement Fund has gone into the creation of this new park, which is to be named. We say Closed Harbor Park, but that's a reference now. It's to be named, and no doubt will be appropriately named. So we partnered with UDC in this regard. Total cost of the development is $1.2 billion, of which we, tourism, are putting $600 million. And when that is finished, it is going to provide not just an attraction, but another element of the assurance of the destination as a pristine place that not only visitors can come and be safe, but Jamaicans as well can enjoy and be safe. So we are concerned in tourism, especially at this time in the pandemic, that the risk that we all face, the uncertainty that we all are dealing with, is managed and mitigated to a level where we can say that everything that we need to do and can do, we're doing. And that's a point I want to make this afternoon to all of us. That's our job. Our job in a pandemic which is characterized by uncertainty, a magnitude of which the world has never seen before, is not to do all the things that is imaginable to be done, but is to do all the things that we should do well. And we have not been doing that sufficiently. So the spread that we are experiencing of the virus in communities, and a lot of them in the northwestern parishes and so on we're hearing about, is resulting from our not doing what we should do well. We're not wearing our masks. We're not keeping physical distancing. We're having parties everywhere. We are using bike taxis to carry 4 and 5 people. On a little bike, 4 and 5 people. We are not doing what we should do properly. We're not staying home and making family and operating within that space as we should. We're not working smartly either. And our transportation system, we're still not following the rules of low density. But in the tourism side, we have been following the rules. Every hotel in Jamaica is now fully compliant with all the what we call biosecurity equipment and gadgetry that is required to enable sanitation and more so touchless approaches. Everyone has properly marked out areas for social distancing, 6 feet. You go into every hotel, it's there. We have Pyrex glass shields at the reception areas. We spend time and money to train workers. And the Tourism Enhancement Fund has spent over $20 million in training and purchasing COVID security equipment and PPEs. And even yesterday, we provided 600 masks to the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association for distribution to workers and communities within the tourism areas. So tourism has invested a lot. We created an elegant a corridor, a resilient corridor, which is now a model in the world. And every webinar that I go on, the question is, explain to us about the resilient corridor in Jamaica. And that corridor has acted as the bubble for international visitors who come in. And we don't use the word quarantine to describe what happens in there, but the effect is that. So the spread is less likely to come from the corridor than from other areas where visitors who are not international guests, but our own Jamaicans go to. And I want to make a special appeal on this moment, because we have cousins that are going to come. We have aunties and uncles that are going to come for Christmas holiday. We know because we see the flights are being booked. And the bookings look good with Jamaicans coming home. And when they come home, they can't avoid sometimes going to meet, because we have large families, don't? And Christmas is celebration time, where we're begging you, do the right thing. Tone down the Christmas celebration. Keep the numbers that we say to 10 to 15. And don't expose grandma and granddad too much, because you know that that's the age group of those who are most susceptible to being infected. So when you come, and you stay in the villas and so on, don't leave and go into the country parts to go and socialize when you know the rules that you shouldn't. And I want to say, don't make it being felt that tourism is to be blamed for any undue. And I mean, I'm not the one to say that it is impossible, nor am I the one to say that there is absolutely no incident. What I can say is that from all accounts, the incidence of spread or the incidence of infection in the corridor where the international visitors are is so low that it's almost negligible in the calculations. And I want to make the point because it's important to Jamaica that this corridor works as it is indeed working. Bearing in mind that, and I say this with a little pride and thanks to everybody who has worked so hard since the 15th of June when we opened, that as of yesterday, we welcome 300,000 visitors to the country. And in so doing, we brought our Jamaican nationals as well in the mix. So we have a little over 200,000 international guests and about 80,000 or so of our own people who have come in and out and around. And that has given us a foreign exchange inflow of something like 150 million US dollars in the period. And we've been able to pull back workers who we had laid off. And these are very important considerations that we have to take into account as we continue to manage this pandemic, balancing lives and livelihood. Because jobs are coming back. Not as fast, of course, but still, the hope, jobs are coming back. And this winter, if it goes, and we have to keep our fingers crossed because the source markets from which they come are having issues, and we know how that goes. But if it continues as we have seen, we are likely to see about 30% of the workers coming back. We had to lay off, as you know, about 130,000 workers over the period. And if we get back 30,000 of those during this period because there is a little movement upwards in arrivals, that's creating opportunities for well-being for so many families and is helping the economy to recover. And I want us to understand that if we are irresponsible in dealing with this pandemic out there, that little uptick of the economy will not happen. Because people are not going to come to a destination where they see the spread is gone wild and there is no safe area, there's no bubble. But at the same time, we must caution ourselves in how we talk loosely. Because some of us just like to talk and get headline and don't consider what the headline does to the economy and to the chances of our people moving forward and recovering. I don't want to say anything more than that. But I want to indicate that Jamaica is being seen as a little country that has a vision and a direction and understands what the underpinnings are to build out confidence in a destination. And these things that we're doing, road safety measures that we're putting in, the building out of infrastructure in various areas, and more importantly, the level of thought leadership that we are providing, the resilient corridor, which is a model. And now we're thinking through a health security arrangement, which we call in Jamaica CARES, that when we speak about it and say what the intention is, the entire world is asking for it. And I must say to you already, 5 countries have called to ask me, how do we get this concept that you have of Jamaica CARES to come to us? And we don't even launch it yet. People are paying attention to us. So people want to visit you, not only because they are seeing that you are trying to manage the pandemic well, and that you have good beaches and good sun and wonderful music and great food and marvelous people. They are coming to you also because they see that you are a visionary, you are leaders, and you are giving them innovative systems and processes and methods that they can follow. And I close by saying that when we established the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management at the University of the West Indies 2 years ago, everybody asked, what is that? Because we were saying that tourism, like the world, is susceptible to global disruptions. And some of these disruptions include pandemics and weather events, hurricanes and seismic events, earthquake and tsunamis and cyber crimes and terrorism and economic meltdown and all of those things. And we set up that facility at the university, which we got the board of directors composed of leaders from every continent in the world. And when we had our first ever virtual board meeting 2 weeks ago, you saw who those board members were. Leaders from all across the world. But what that said was the visionary nature of Jamaica's approach. That we saw this pandemic before it came, and we were saying to the world, prepare yourself for it. The truth is that we couldn't see the level that every country in the world would be affected at the same time, which makes this pandemic the most existential threat to the human race ever since Anthropocene Earth. But that a little country like Jamaica saw it, not in its totality, but saw it, and built the institutional framework to build capacity to deal with these things when they come. Invites people to come to us, invites people to inquire about us more, to investigate us more. And that's what tourism is really about. Getting people to come to you, to inquire about you, to participate with you, and to share in your culture. Thank you very much for making the time to be online in this particular event that we've put on. And it is true that virtual reality is not our reality because human beings like to touch and feel and interact emotionally. But virtual reality represents a connective point that enables us to reach more people simultaneously than we probably ever could. So thank you for joining us, and thanks again for the partnership NAA, the partnership National Safety, and the partnership from our local authorities in the parishes that we have had the opportunity to effect the road safety arrangements. And congratulations, TEF, Director, and your team. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Edmund Bartlett. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings the curtains down on today's activities. We would just like to thank the partners again, NAA, the National Safety and Road, let me get it right, National Road Safety Council, and the municipal corporations. And I want to also single out SRAM, who has been responsible for the live streaming. I'd like to thank the media for being here to cover this event. We're extremely proud of it, and we will ensure that all our other events that have this level of impact will be shared with you so that we can share with the nation of all the great things that tourism is doing, certainly what the Tourism Enhancement Fund is doing, but all our other agencies in the Ministry of Tourism. So with that, I'd just like to thank everybody and wish you a safe journey and safe travels on our roads, going back to your respective homes and offices. Thank you very much.